Hi, everyone, and welcome. Today I'm introducing the TPACK Framework, a powerful tool for enhancing teaching practices as a lead-in to the overall webinar on the intersection of artificial intelligence, or AI, and the TPACK Framework. My name is Adam Carreon, and I'm an assistant professor at Georgia Southern University in the areas of special education, and I'm excited to explore how the TPACK Framework can support our diverse learners. So first off, what is the TPACK Framework? TPACK stands for Technological, Pedagogical, and Content Knowledge. It's a framework that guides educators in integrating technology effectively. By balancing the three core tenets, content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge, we can create more engaging and accessible learning environments. We're first going to explore each of the three core tenets of the TPACK framework. We'll start with content knowledge, which you'll see on your screen get highlighted with a square. The content knowledge is your expertise in the subject area you teach. For special educators, this might include foundational skills like literacy and numeracy, as well as life skills and social emotional learning. It can also include your core subjects like social studies, science, math, language arts, basically whatever area you teach. Understanding that content deeply allows us to adapt lessons to meet the individual needs. The second box you'll see highlighted is the pedagogical knowledge box. The pedagogical knowledge involves mastering instructional strategies that facilitate learning. This includes techniques for differentiated instruction, scaffolding, and implementing IEPs effectively. It's about knowing how to present content in ways that are understandable and engaging for each student to ensure quality lessons. Finally, the last highlighted tenet is the technological knowledge. The technological knowledge is the ability to use digital tools, resources, and any other technology you have available. This might include employing assistive technologies like screen readers, communication devices, or educational apps, including artificial intelligence, the core of what we are discussing in this webinar series. And all these technologies support various disabilities in students. The goal is to choose technologies that enhance learning and accessibility. With the three core tenets, you'll notice on your screen that the graph and the content is shaped in a Venn diagram. Each of these core tenets intersect with each other in the Venn diagram, creating three intersections and an intersection of all three. At the heart of the TPACK framework is these intersections of the areas. Here, the intersection helps us to effectively teach, and the effective teaching occurs when technology is thoughtfully integrated with pedagogy and content. This synergy of all three allows us to create meaningful, differentiated learning experiences tailored to the needs of all students. So you might be asking, with all this knowledge, what are the benefits for special educators? The TPACK framework offers several benefits. First, it encourages innovative and flexible teaching methods. It supports diverse learning styles and needs. It provides tools that increase student engagement and motivation, and it enhances accessibility, making learning more inclusive. Let's take an example. Imagine a math lesson on fractions. With the TPACK framework, you could use an interactive app. This would be the technological knowledge. With that app, you will visualize fractions with virtual manipulatives. This becomes the content knowledge. When you have the app and the visualization, then we can adjust the activities for different learning paces, which becomes the pedagogical knowledge. This approach helps students grasp complex concepts throughout technologically driven hands-on experiences. By integrating TPACK, you create more inclusive and effective learning environments. It empowers you to tailor your teaching strategies, ensuring that all students, regardless of their abilities, have the opportunities to succeed.
As Adam introduced, the TPACK has value. It is essential components. Those features make sense in respect to what we're trying to do in terms of teacher development. And there's a host of other factors that make the TPACK extremely relevant for our integration efforts for our pre-service teachers as well as our current teachers. There's evidence behind the TPACK, and again, it's going to expand beyond this idea of, well, we need AI and other technologies integrated into our professional learning in our teacher development, but we want to go beyond how to. At times, the TPACK gets a bad rep, and I want to reinforce it, and with this visual, I want to reinforce it in two different ways. One, we know that technology is not being integrated at the level it needs to be in terms of our future teachers as well as our current teachers. We need a model to be able to facilitate that, and we need it integrated into pedagogy and content to make it meaningful, relevant, and of course flexible as the technology changes, as well as our needs for the individuals and what we're trying to serve changes as well. But number two has to go with the other part of this visual here, and that's the myth and facts of assistive technology. This came out in January of 2024, and you may be saying, well, Sean, what's the connection here? Well, the connection to me is the fact that Office of Special Education Programs, Department of Education, took time and effort and utilized people across the country to develop this guide out of the realization that we are not integrating technology at the level we should and could and can for individuals with disabilities in our pre-K through 12 classrooms. Assistive technology has been defined since the 20th century. I mean, since 1998, and in IDA since 1990. It's been required for every IP to at least consider it since 1997. And yet we're still struggling with the integration of technology for individuals with disabilities. And so with that factor in mind, and with AI becoming even more critical and more essential to the lives of individuals with disabilities and what they can do, the independence, the personalization, the self-determination, and a host of other factors that AI brings, that then the relevance of utilizing something like the TPACK is so critical in this day and age of 2024 when the technology's there, and yet we're finding out we still need to go back and reinforce to our educators and to our parents the basics of technology for students with disabilities, and also get rid of some myths that are getting in the way.
Hi, I'm Samantha Goldman. I am a graduate research assistant for CITL, and today I'm here to talk to you about how we can integrate AI into the TPACK framework. And so as you know from the previous presentation, the TPACK framework is how we look at how we are integrating technology into pedagogy and content knowledge. So with the TPACK framework, as you can see, we've outlined a couple tools that can be useful when we're thinking about technology, pedagogy, and content knowledge, both in isolation. And then we've provided some examples of some lessons that you can use that are going to integrate the different areas. So first, we're going to explore different ways that we can look at technology knowledge in AI, content knowledge in AI, and pedagogical knowledge in AI. And then we're going to look at some lesson examples. So for technology knowledge in AI, I'm going to open up my Copilot. Again, any of these tools, Copilot, ChatGPT, all of them can help you think about the technology knowledge aspect. So I'm going to go to Copilot. I'm going to say, just got an interactive projector in my 7th grade special education math classroom. What are some ways I can use it to create innovative and engaging lessons? So it's going to provide us with some ideas specific to that technology. So it's going to help me learn how I can use that technology. So it says, as an interactive whiteboard, to show videos, to create interactive games, modeling and demonstrations, virtual manipulatives. So then I'm going to ask it another question. I have this whiteboard, but I'm having a hard time understanding how to make it work. So have a slideshow with drag and drop components, but can't figure out how to use them with the projector. Every time I put it in presenter mode, the pieces won't move. Oh. So in this case, the AI is acting almost as my tech support, right? It's kind of like my on-demand help line. So here it's going to tell me that to do it in Google Docs, I want, instead of using in presentation mode, to use it in editing mode. It's going to keep talking. So that's one way that we can use AI to support that technology knowledge aspect. We go over to pedagogical knowledge. This is, how am I using the AI to support the knowledge of being a teacher, that pedagogy? So Magic School does this. We can also look at Teachology, LUDIA, Planet to teach Brisk is another super cool one. There are so many out there that we can use, but we're going to use Magic School. And we're going to log in. And I want to look at accommodation suggestions, right? I have a student in my classroom and I want to know how to support them better. So I have let's go with a fourth grader who struggles with seated activities, blurts out a lot, reads above grade level, but often misses instructions and is late on assignments. Now let's see, it's going to generate a list of suggestions to support this kiddo. So flexible seating, structured turn taking, visual aids, and extended time. Now, these are very generic, so we can use the prompts down here to provide more examples, or we can continue asking questions. The main takeaway when you're using tools, either AI-based or not, is that you know your students. So we're going to take from the AI and use that and enhance it to meet the needs of who our learners are, because we're still the teacher and we still are having to play an active role in their education. The other one we're going to look at, now that we looked at a little bit about the pedagogical knowledge, is this content area knowledge. And that's understanding the specific math content, the specific language arts content. And in special education, we're expected to be experts in everything, and that's a lot. And so there's AI that exists that allow us to have conversations about books or math topics, either teacher to AI or student to AI. So one example is we can go back to Copilot, and I can say, summarize chapter 18 of Charlotte's Web actually, I don't want to summarize, I want to rewrite chapter 18 at the second grade level. So I'm taking my student's grade level, which is second grade, and I'm going to ask for it to rewrite this book that we're all reading. So it's going to generate it. And here's some things to consider if you're going to use some kind of a text generation text leveler, which there's a bunch. There's Diffit, there's Copilot, Brisk can do it. You want to make sure that the rewrite matches the original book. So you want to make sure the characters' names are the same, the chapter's name is the same. So we have a summary written at a different grade level. And now I can support a student who might be reading at a different grade level and being able to engage in a book talk about the same book that their peers are reading.
So with that said, and of course reinforcing what we talked about in the article, let's take a quick look at LUDIA. LUDIA, I've actually already started it, a little prompt, but LUDIA, as we mentioned in the article, is AI-powered tool to basically facilitate with this idea of universal design for learning framework. It's our thought partner in respect to universal design for learning. So what I did was I offered a prompt, and it's not the best of prompts. We actually offered some better prompts in the article, but let's go ahead and I'm playing for a third grader with Down syndrome and being asked to read Flat Stanley. Very typical for second, third, fourth grade across the country. Great book. And so what LUDIA is going to offer, as we offered in the article, an example here, first of all, what potential is needed for an individual with Down syndrome, the alignment to various components of the principles, guidelines, and checkpoints. And in this instance, it's going to give me the checkpoints. In terms of each of the checkpoints, it's going to go across various principles and guidelines. It's going to give me an example of that. And then also, just like a number of other AI functions, it's going to give me options to, okay, well, what do you want to do next? And for example, here, what specific visual supports can be most effective? Now, of course, I could continue talking to it, but you know what? I'm going to select this. And now, what you see, and what I want to reinforce here, is the fact that it's gone from this structure that we illustrate in the article, and it's illustrated here, where it's aligning to a checkpoint, as well as to a principle, as well as to a guideline. But now it's going to take it and say, okay, well, within that, we know it's alignment to universal design for learning. Now, here's some strategies. And this one, since it's specific to visual supports, right, that we can utilize. Now I can go and say, okay, well, gosh, what's the alignment of this visual support to one of the principles? I can go back here. But of course, here, I want to do it towards Flat Stanley. Hey, create a story map for Flat Stanley. So very quickly, with 3 clicks, I go from a UDL perspective, which further that alignment and furthers in terms of what I'm trying to do for all learners, to visual supports, to, oh, wait, story maps, right, I like story maps. And then, of course, it's offering me an example here. And with that, now I could go to, my goodness, a book creator, other story map digital tools that are out there, Canva and others that allow me to create it and utilize these components to be more flexible, more supportive of Flat Stanley for an individual with Down syndrome. All right, that's a quick example in terms of LUDIA. I hope that was helpful. And again, thanks so much for listening to this and engaging with us with this article.
In our article, we explore both in isolation and in the overlapping, how we can utilize the TPACK framework with AI. And there's some more samples in there and screenshots that can support you in your endeavors of integrating AI and the TPACK framework into your pre-service special education classrooms. Thanks for listening.